welcome to UAPB Meet the Researchers. The purpose of this program is to share with the larger community the outstanding research that is going on at the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff, and to keep you abreast of the purpose of our Division for Research, Innovation, and Economic Development. Our office really works across all of the campus departments and schools, and so we will bring to you through this series a group of researchers representing the broad span of research that takes place on our campus. And today I am absolutely excited to have Dr. Rebecca Lochmann here. She is in the Department of Aquaculture and Fisheries, and we're going to be talking about not only her research, but some of the other activities that she's involved in the community and in her national professional groups. So Dr. Lochmann, welcome.
Thank you.
And how long have you been here with us?
Oh, I think this is about my 21st year.
That's really outstanding. When you first came, what were you doing? Because you've progressed a lot since you've been on our campus.
Well, when I first got here, our program was just kind of gaining some critical mass, and I was asked to address the area of aquatic animal nutrition in general, but specifically bait fish nutrition to help with development of commercial feeds for bait fish, because that's Arkansas's kind of unique aquaculture industry.
Very good. And so today, what are you doing? What are your titles here at the university?
I'm currently the interim chair and the center director for the Department of Aquaculture and Fisheries. I'm also currently the president of the World Aquaculture Society.
And let me say congratulations right here.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. So it's been quite a challenge to balance those things. I didn't really expect them to hit at the same time, but we're trying to forge ahead on all fronts. And in terms of the research that I do here now, I'd say it's more diversified than when I first came. When I first came, it was going to be mostly about bait fish, but then on catfish quite a bit too, because that's Arkansas's top food fish. Now, with the decline of the catfish industry, there's more interest in diversifying the different kinds of species that we work with. So we're shifting more toward fish like largemouth bass and hybrid striped bass. And they're higher value products, so we have a little bit more leeway with what we can do with the diet. With the catfish, the farmers consistently want a cheap diet, and there's only so much you can do within those confining metrics. But with the bass, we do have more leeway. We also, I think what I've done a lot of since those early days is collaborate with other scientists, particularly within the state of Arkansas, because we have so many agricultural products that we can work with. So I found a lot of good overlap with the agricultural byproducts and their use in fish diets. So we started collaborating with professors at Fayetteville and also some in Little Rock. And then in addition to the agricultural byproducts, which has been a very lucrative line of research, we're also getting a bit into the biotech area.
Very good.
And so I'm collaborating right now with Dr. Dolan at Arkansas State, and in their plant biotechnology center, they're able to use plants to produce products that are part of the immune system of fish. So it's the exact same product that would naturally be produced in the fish, but they can produce it at a higher quantity and under controlled conditions, so we get a consistent product. And then the idea is that we try injecting that into the fish to try to use it to stimulate their immune response and protect them against disease. And this is really a novel approach. It's quite different than the existing vaccines they have for fish disease. Okay.
Now, when you talk about using the other agriculture byproducts, what are some in particular that you are finding that can be integrated into the aquaculture industry?
Okay. Well, first got here, we were working with the Stuttgart lab quite a bit, and so we got involved with Riceland. So we tested a variety of different rice products in fish diets, rice bran oil, and just different varieties of rice bran. Then of course we got involved with Tyson as well, and they have just an amazing variety of products. We can use different types of poultry fat, feather meal, poultry byproduct meal, and these are all really good components for fish diets. With Fayetteville, they're developing a lot of different varieties of soybeans. And one of the problems with using soybeans in carnivorous fish diets is they're not vegetarian. So, but soy is a really good protein source. With some exceptions, it has some anti-nutritional factors. And so they can, by conventional breeding, they can reduce those anti-nutritional factors and increase the protein, which makes those better ingredients for our fish diets.
Okay. Could you talk just a minute about the economic impact of that, the various diets that are offered to the fish?
Well, that's one thing that we always have to keep in mind, no matter how interesting the research results are. If it's not, if the profitability is lost, then it's not going to be implemented in the industry. So, but a lot of the products we work with don't have an established market value yet. Where they do, then we do the economics on it. Another major line of research has been using prebiotics in fish diets instead of antibiotics. They're a natural indigestible carbohydrate that can stimulate the immune response of fish and also increase their feed conversion efficiency. And with those, they have a market value because it's an established commercial product, and we can do economic analysis on it. And so we did get some positive results with one prebiotic that we tested. And farmers actually went to the company and asked for the product. They wanted to make some diets. And then suddenly the price had changed.
Oh my.
And so it turns out we had been quoted like the truckload price, which was less expensive. Well, the bait fish industry is not big enough to be able to use that. So we have to consider economy of scale too.
Okay. Now, so when we talk about the fish and the diet, and I become a consumer, talk to me about the safety of the products that the fish are receiving.
Okay. Well, the safety of the products the fish are getting are, they've never caused a health problem with the fish. They're mostly byproducts that are typically used in pet feeds and so forth. So people may not worry as much about what they feed their fish, but they're very concerned about what they feed their pets. So we tend to use the pet grade versions of products. But other than like the anti-nutritional factors I mentioned, those we wouldn't use them at such a high level that they would be toxic. If they hurt the fish, then the fish isn't going to grow, it's not going to survive, so that defeats our purpose.
So it sort of has a built-in safety net.
Exactly.
Well, we're going to take a short break and we'll be right back to talk about some of the additional exciting work that you are doing here at the university. Thank you. Dr. Lochmann, it's just such a pleasure to sit and talk with you about the research that you're doing, because it is so important to the whole food supply chain, but also it's important in different ways because it allows our university to demonstrate that it really has a strong research agenda, and this is important for our accreditation. It's important for students, especially your program, because you have a master's degree program and a PhD program, and no student is going to want to go to a program that does not have a very active research portfolio. So I want to talk to you now about your graduate students, your graduate program here, and also we want to leave some time to talk about the impact of your research for the aquaculture farmers, but also for the people of Arkansas and the people of the country as a whole. And I do know that you work with the World Aquaculture Society, so you are actually in an area that has global implications. So let's get started by talking about your academic programs and how they relate to the research agenda.
Well, like you said, we have a master's program. We've had that for quite some time, and it got off on a good foot, and we've kept it steadily growing since.
Good.
As you know, we have the only PhD program right now at UAPB.
I am so excited. You can say that a second time.
And and that has definitely stimulated interest in our program too.
Sure.
And when we first got the master's program, we were a little concerned about the impact on undergrads, because we like to involve our undergrads in research as well. But it turns out that's really not an issue. They've helped each other out, they've mentored each other, and they're closer in age to each other, so sometimes they can, the undergrads can relate to the grad students. And then when we added the additional layer, the PhD students, they came in with skills that they had gotten other places, and also could share those new skills with our master students and our undergrads.
That's great.
So we found out that there's a kind of synergy having all three tiers, and the PhD students are helping out with teaching and practical skills as well for the undergrads. But I currently have 2 master students, and one's originally from Kenya, one's from the US, and I have a PhD student from India. So we also have a lot of multicultural aspects to our group. Yeah, we have people over to socialize. It's always really interesting to hear about other countries and things. But everyone is focused on different components of aquatic animal nutrition research. The PhD student is the one who's using these new products that were generated by Fayetteville. But he's doing a lot of the feeding trials to test those products at the Stuttgart lab, ARS Stuttgart lab. So we have a lot of close collaborations with them as well. But I guess the overall goal of the nutrition research is to, first of all, the farmer has to continue to make a profit,
Absolutely.
and so they can stay in business, and that's an aspect of sustainability that sometimes the big agro companies don't understand. If it's sustainable, they're thinking environmental, which is important. But if the farmers can't stay in business, then our research doesn't go anywhere.
Absolutely.
So that's important. But also an aspect of the research is that we try to feed the fish to make the fish a healthier product for humans to eat.
I like that.
Yeah. So a big part of that is the type of fatty acids that are found in fish. And so fish like salmon are naturally high in omega-3 fatty acids. Most people have heard of those, and they know that they're good for heart health and other things. The more popular fish that we eat here, though, like catfish, are not that high in omega-3s unless we change the diet. And fortunately, all we have to do is change the kind of fat that we put in the diet, and then the fish will acquire those healthy fatty acids.
That's really very interesting, and I'm glad to get that bit of information. When you take a look at your students and they come here, they get the academic knowledge, they get the research information, let's talk about what they're able to do with that. How marketable are they upon graduation, especially your all of your students, from your undergraduates, your masters, and your PhD students. Just if you sort of summarize the type of employment opportunities or graduate school opportunities that they have.
Okay. Well, we make sure that all of our students are involved in presentations as much as possible.
That's great.
Not only right here on campus, but also we take them to national meetings, and when we can, get them to international meetings. But we have several thousand people at our national meetings, so they get a lot of good exposure there.
Sure.
And I know the first time that my PhD student presented, he had 3 job offers before he left the meeting. So
that's outstanding.
Yeah. I was worried he would leave without finishing his degree, but he's sticking it out. I'm glad. So, but he obviously will be quite marketable when he's finished. He's my first PhD student, so I'm happy about that. And then I know at least one of my master students will go on to get a PhD, and she also has had 4 or 5 people from different universities that are kind of after her, kind of courting her. Tyson Foods actually wanted her to work for them, and they also tried to recruit her at a meeting. So sometimes I get a little concerned about these meetings, but they're sticking with their program and they're going to finish their degrees. And the other master student had a chemistry background before he came, so he'll be able to go a lot of different directions with a chemistry degree and then specializing in fish nutrition, and he probably also will go for his PhD. But they all have good prospects because of they've all done a little bit of biotech type of work.
Sure.
Even if it's not their main thesis or PhD project, they're helping out with all these things, and they're interacting with these people from other universities.
All
so
right.
Getting wide exposure.
That's great. And we want to share that with the audience to help them to see how this research just further enriches the academic program. And hopefully we have some students out there who are listening and who might have a particular interest in coming to UAPB and majoring in and aquaculture fisheries area. But before we close it out, I wanted to applaud you for your partnerships. And again, if you just sort of tick off some of the agencies and universities that you're working with, so that the taxpayers can understand how we share information and work together in academia here in the state of Arkansas. So would you just name those again?
Sure. Within Arkansas, we partner with the University of Arkansas at Fayetteville, the Food Science Department. And also we partner with Arkansas State University. We partner with the USDA ARS lab in Stuttgart, Arkansas.
Fantastic.
And we also have national partnerships with Texas A&M, Mississippi State. There's some universities in Florida that we work with sometimes. And I do international work also through USAID, and currently we're working in Ghana.
All right. Well, we want to share that because the word university means universal. And what we are seeing here is the application of that concept here in our aquaculture fisheries program. Dr. Lochmann, it's been so interesting having you here. I'm sure we'll ask you to come back again. And if someone wanted to follow up with you to maybe visit your lab or get a tour of the aquaculture facilities, how could they reach you?
Well, they can call me at my office phone number, 870-575-8124, or they can contact the departmental office, Delilah Thurman, and unfortunately I don't have her number in my head, but
well, your number will work.
Yes,
yeah.
that will work. Yes.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you so much for being with us and say that it's been our pleasure to share the work of some of our outstanding researchers with the larger community. The University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff is really a multifaceted institution, and we hope that you will come to see us, get to know us better, make contact, and most of all, be a great ambassador for a wonderful university. Thank you very much.